All right, sweet. So this is totally not the way that we want to write our custom components and use them. Let's go ahead and take this one step further by passing this function as the type to the React Create Element call. So we want to actually create React elements that are of this message type, just like we create React elements that are of a div type. And you can do that by using the React Create Element API directly. So let's go ahead and do that. What I'm going to do is when we call React Create Element, the first argument here is the type of element you want to create. And so far what we've done is create divs and spans, but I want to create a type that is the message function. And that is a React element that is represented by this specific function. When React goes to create a DOM node representing this element, it actually doesn't create a DOM node, and instead it creates an element that is just sitting around in memory, and then it calls into this function to get the DOM nodes that should represent that element on the page. And so what we're going to do here is I'll just go ahead and create this hello element just right here. And we want the children prop, which we're accepting as an argument here, to be passed as children hello world. And then let's go ahead and console log this. We'll say hello element. We'll save that. We'll go to our console here and we get our type of simple React element. Our key is null. Our prompts say children hello world. And then here we have the type is message ref. Just like before we had the type was the string of div. Now it's actually the thing that we passed in here, and that works out fine. We're not getting any warnings or anything. And it's only when we actually render onto the page will this message function be called by React, because it's saying, hey, this element needs to render. I need to find out the elements that it needs to render. So that's what we're going to do right now is I'm going to replace this message function call with that hello element so that React can say, hey, message, what elements do I need to render for you? And we'll save that, and here we get the exact same result we did before, but it actually is slightly different. If we look at the final result, we get our div with container and a class of message, but the difference between using this with the create element API and just simply calling it is noticeable in our components tab if you have the React DevTools installed. So when I click on components, we'll see that we've got our div, which is the root element that we're rendering. That's for our container. And then we have a message, and then that message is going to render a div. And this message is representing hello world. You'll see that highlighted when I click on the message. And then if we go to the second div, that's the goodbye world. So no element or component or anything is created when we simply call the function, but we do have an element created when we create an element with that message function as the type. And so there is something different in the way that React manages these elements when we use the create element API versus simply calling the function and getting some React elements back. And that has some pretty strong implications for our custom components that we're going to be building soon. And so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for both of these. I'll just copy this, paste it in directly. And we'll do the same thing for this one, except this one's going to call goodbye world. We'll save that. And now we'll see that our components do now have the message for both of these, which is great. Our final result is exactly what we wanted in the first place. And we're one step closer to creating a custom component that we can use throughout our application.